Alright, guys, so let's talk about Victoria Island and why do I consider it the best continent, without a doubt, in the MapleStory universe. If you think about it, we always see Victoria Island as the core, the main area, the area that we always love and care for and want in any content that we revisit in MapleStory, right? It's one of those areas that come to mind every time you think about MapleStory. You see yourself right there in Victoria Island doing some kind of grinding, getting your job advancement, doing anything related to your class in this beautiful main island. And I want to dive deep into it and why do I think it's so great, and it is unmatched actually in my opinion by every single other continent that has existed in the history of MapleStory, and why it's unmatched by any other content, and what I think is like a gold mine of ideas just in this single island that we have over here. And let's have this conversation, of course, next to my boy Manji. So let's get started. The first thing I want to consider for breaking down this mystery of Victoria Island and its beauty, if you will, is each town. Like, let's analyze each town and what they represent. So, as we all know, we start here on Lilith Harbor, right here. And this is where our adventure basically starts, where we make a decision of which town we should go and which path to take. Should we take the water? Should we take the assassins, rogues like magicians, right? Should we be an archer or like a pirate? You know, like there's these decisions that we make in this big content island as soon as we land in Lilith Harbor that just like set the precedent of something great. So from there we can, like I said, walk to the different towns and all. And the thing is like, yes, obviously this is like that because each town is for each class and whatever, but I believe there's something more. If you think about it, like in this big island, each town has like a problem to solve, or kind of like a quote unquote mountain to conquer. Let's analyze this a little bit deeper. So, for example, if you go to Kerning City, you go there, and a lot of people have different problems. There's like this jump quest going on there. You have this industrial kind of area that like invites you to explore what is around the town and how can you help the people in the town. And then you have other area that is the swamp that is connected to this like town, like city that represents basically all the waste and whatever that the town is producing. And then the swamp itself is one of those places that when you get there as a newbie, you're like, oh my god, I cannot hit these snakes or I cannot hit these crocodiles. I want to come back later and see if I can kill them and just like train here or something. So it's one of those things, as soon as you get into the town and you explore a little bit, it invites you to it. There is not like a linear path, which we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but there is just this, all of these things happening around that town, just that town, that makes you wonder. And then let's keep that analogy there that you are a rogue, you decide to go to Kerning City. But then you have these other towns that are from different classes that other people went to. Your friends are in probably Elena. I'm not sure if that is actually the correct pronunciation, or Elenia, I think it is. Some of your friends decided to be magicians and explore these trees and this magic forest that is in Elena, and you have to probably visit them there. And it feels like everybody at the beginning is in his own town, figuring their class and what to do and why not. And sometimes you as a rogue, let's say you go to Elena, you're kind of like an outsider. Like, what are you doing here? This is an area for magicians, but it's actually not. It's just like an exploration aspect of things that invites you to revisit different towns. And I think, like I said, it encourages exploration overall, because if you think about it, in each town, let's go to Genesis for example. Genesis has the classic Genesis like training ground, hunting grounds, and stuff like that. Everybody goes there to train, like very iconic. But at the same time, you have like these other areas that, like when you're walking into Sleepywood, that are so dangerous, like Golden Temple and all of these things that you're like, oh my god, I want to just like go there and try it out, and see if I can come back here later and just like kill those golems and explore more about it. And I believe that this is something kind of interesting about Victoria Island. This idea of exploration, this idea of I want to visit different town. I want to solve the problems that each town has, and each, like I said, mountain that you need to conquer. And why not? Because, like I said, you cannot kill these mobs, and you want to know what's out there, what's after killing these mobs, and you feel powerful once you come back after leveling up and killing these golems or killing those crocodiles in the swamp, or killing in Elena the Lupies, I think the ghost monkeys, or the witches that are flying. If you manage to stumble upon them and dying at the beginning, you're like, you know what, I'm gonna come here and see if I can kill you later on when I level up. So it's one of those things that like you end up wondering and looking forward to as you keep leveling up. Another main reason why Victoria Island is so great and the content is so great, the idea of it, it's because it is not linear. And what do I mean by that? Let's go ahead and make comparisons to other towns. So let's in other towns and areas, actually. If you think about it, let's go to, let's say, the Temple of Time. The Temple of Time is great. Don't get me wrong, it's a good classic content over there. But let's break it down a little bit. When you get to the Temple of Time, basically, what do you get there? You get quests that are kind of linear. It's like, kill these mobs, then kill these mobs, then kill these mobs that are a little bit more stronger, like a little bit stronger, then kill these mobs that are a little bit stronger, and so on and so on. Kill stronger mobs in a linear way until you get to the boss area, and then you kill the boss. Obviously, it takes longer time, but I'm just summarizing it for you right there. And that's the end of it. There is nothing like you just want to complete the main quest of the Temple of Time, and that's it, and call it a day. Whereas, like, if you think about some of these towns in Victoria Island, like, they have different problems and different routes they take you. Sometimes in Parion, they say, hey, you should go to Elena and explore a couple of things going on over there, and vice versa. And not only that, like, not only quest-wise, but also it's like I said, you don't have like this specific line that is mobs from X level. Let's say you start killing mobs at level 100, and then if you continue this linear path on this town, you get to mobs that are level 120, for example. And Leafree has the same problem if you think about it. Leafree, what is Leafree? The same thing. You have a main town over there where mobs around the town are weaker, and as you step further and further away from the town, mobs are a little bit harder to kill. And that's it. That's the end of it. And then you have the boss at the end. But like, the boss at the end content is spread around so many areas in different ways in Victoria Island. You got in Genesis this hidden mush mom area that it's like, to get there, you have to go through different paths at hidden streets, which we're going to talk about that aspect also, hidden streets, and explore those areas to get to those boss, to that boss or that content that is, like I said, not a straight up line that gets you there. Another example of a town is like this. It's actually, I'm gonna step outside of Classic and move into what MapleStory is today. What do we got today when we get to level 200? Well, basically, you go to this area where it's basically the same thing. You just train there, and you train with mobs that are level 205, 210, and so on. until you get to an area that is a boss, and that's it. And it's just like there is not this flavor of exploration. It doesn't invite exploration because you just like stranded, if you will, in a single area that is just like the mobs that you're supposed to kill to level up with, and that's the end of it. And I want to talk about later on of what a continent example should be. I want to show you what an example continent of like a Victoria Island 2.0 should look like and would be great for actually MapleStory. The next thing I want to talk about is hidden streets. So hidden streets, I believe, are like kind of like a must in MapleStory, and it was one of those core aspects of MapleStory that it was introduced heavily at the beginning in the classic era, and it was just tossed out because I think people said, "Oh, this is just like too hard, whatever. We're just gonna make them like see the portals and go through there and whatever." No, I mean, we just love the hidden streets. The aspect that we saw some kind of bush that looked weird, and it's just like, maybe if I stand up here and I press the up key, I can just like traverse into the unknown, you know? So I believe that's one of the things that are amazing about Victoria Island and actually MapleStory Classic overall. And if we actually consider to implement Classic Plus, meaning creating new content with the flavor of classic, I believe like hidden streets are a core aspect of that. I think they should definitely encourage it and definitely like put it out there so they can incentivize more exploration, because if you think about it, for example, iconic places like Peak Beach where there is not a map that tells you where to go there, or Mush Mom, that is also a hidden street, are one of those places that you heard of them by word of mouth at the time when there was not that much internet. Well, yeah, there was not that much internet, and you just like enjoy like going to these places and being told, hey, you should go to this here, like it's not like, have you heard of Peak Beach? And it's like, what is that? And you just like go and explore yourself, and it's great. I think it was just like one of those things that were great. I think that creating content around hidden street is great, and we're going to talk about that, like I said, in the example continent that I think would be Victoria Island 2.0 if they decide to release more content with classic after they release it, which I think they should, honestly. If they go to the route of World of Warcraft, where they just like release classic kind of like with quality of lives, and they just like keep releasing like all content even post Big Bang, whatever, I think it's gonna go pretty bad. I think the game is gonna die and it's not gonna be good. I think they should definitely copy RuneScape and release content on top of the old classic formula, following of course the flavor of the classic. Alright, so the last thing that I want to talk about is a concept that I have when it comes to Victoria Island 2.0 and a continent idea and the way they should create continents with classic flavor in the future, if they decide obviously to create content on top of the classic, depending on how successful it is. So let's go right into the image. So here is the image right here. Obviously this image was generated with AI. The way I did it was with basically by placing the Victoria Island image of the map and then basically telling AI, hey, give me something similar with different towns, different things, whatever. But it's just basically to portray and show you the point of what I mean. So let's say that they decide to create a similar island to Victoria Island, that is higher level obviously, and you got a place where, let's say this Cockshell Port, right? This is where we get there on a boat, and then once we get there we see this huge map with things that we want to do right off the get-go whenever we as soon as we get there. So we got let's analyze it as it is, right, as this image is. We open the map and we see this frost spire. Like, what is that? What is that mountain? What is that castle over there? I want to go there. I want to check that out. And then we have Dusk Hole. What is it? How do you read that? Dusk Hollow. There. It looks dark, it looks mysterious. I want to just check it out. Look at that volcano over there. Are there people even there next to the volcano? Like, you know, in like it gives you this vibe of The Legend of Zelda. And I think that's why Victoria Island is so good, because it has this good formula that Legend of Zelda has. When you open a map in Legend of Zelda, you see these like volcanoes and these frozen lands and whatever. It motivates you to go there and explore. Whereas if I give you just a straight line, it's like, hey, this is the line, and at the end there is a boss, and that's it. So it just motivates you. It makes you want to literally teleport every section that you throughout. Like it's like, oh, I just want to go to the next area and level up there, and you just like use teleport rocks to go back and forth, and that's it. So whereas this thing, you just want to walk it. Like for example, let's look at that town over there, that is between Verdale and Blaze Watch. Like you probably want to go to that town. Maybe there are people. For example, the way they should do it is like, Victoria Island is more of class, right? You have rogues, you have warriors, whatever. But this island is not about that. Maybe, for example, in this little town between Blaze Watch and Verdale, there is a problem there going on. Maybe there is a plague, and they just like, you need to help people that are sick there. And you have to do different quests, explore different areas. Probably they say there is a herb that you have to get in Verdale that helps the people there, and you have to now explore Verdale to get there and kill mobs there and check things out there. But then in Verdale as well, you find these fairies or these like forest creatures that also have another problem. And then probably if you want to get this medicine, you have to do something else for them, and they provide you something. They provide you this these herbs that this town that I'm talking about needs. And then when you go to, but not necessarily there is a boss at the end. You know what I mean? There's just like problems, and you have different mobs that probably you cannot kill at the moment yet, but you will be able to kill them. Because this is the interesting thing I wanted to point out. When you get to Victoria Island, you can explore Victoria Island without being max level. But there is exploration for every other level. If you're level 30, you can explore certain aspects of Victoria Island in the dungeon, like Sleepywood and why not. But you know there is a limit. Like you can explore like that. Like there is a limit of how much you can explore, but you can still explore. Whereas if you think about it, places like I said, the Temple of Time, you have just like, you can't explore, because if you like, it's just a line, and if you just go past that line, the mobs are gonna kill you. Whereas in Victoria Island, you can go to these different towns and check out what's going on and do something that is within the level that the island requires. And this is what I have for this, for example. Like, yes, like there are bosses spread around, but not in specific linear areas in this new Victoria Island 2.0, quote unquote. So let's talk about, for example, Dusk's Hollow as well. So we have there, maybe this is a vampire place. There are vampires there, and people like are tired of the vampires, and you gotta kill them and help them with that. And just like, and you can like, and like I said, this new island can have higher level content as well within it. And both, let's say, just to put a number, right? So there can be a lot of content in an island like this from level 60, for example, till level 100. You can make it something like that, where you can go to the island level 60 and you can do a lot of stuff in level 60 and level up in this island. Don't have to be only in this island. You can go to these other places and explore other areas and level up on other areas, and why not? And I think it would be so beautiful and great. I mean, having this Victoria Island 2.0 concept, because the only areas I can think of that are similar to Victoria Islands are Orbis, for example. Orbis is great. Once you get to Orbis, you have this mythical town, and then there is this tower coming down, and you want to just explore that. But there is also this area of the clouds that you want to explore as well. And then once you go down the tower, there is this Iceland, whatever, that you want to explore. But if you think about it, even those towns, even El Nath is a little bit linear. You get to El Nath, there is a line like that gets you to Zakum, and that's it, right? So whereas there are no towns in the middle, there are not like a circular shape, because like I said, Victoria Island is great because you can go north, south, east, you can go different areas, and you can basically explore like at will whatever you want. And for example, like towns. Let's talk about town scrolls. So in Victoria Island, depending on where you are, the town scroll to the next or closest town takes you to different towns. Whereas if you're at Nath, it will always take you to Nath because there's nothing else, right? Like depending on where you are in the Orbis Tower, of course, it takes you to Orbis or Nath, or it takes you to Aqua Road, whatever. But you see what I'm trying to say? It's like, it's very amazing, this concept. This, I will call it the Legend of Zelda concept, because it is very similar to the Legend of Zelda. When you open the Legend of Zelda map, you see all of these towns and these areas, and you're like, wow. Well, I personally just played, not just played, I play a couple of Zeldas, but my favorite is Majora's Mask. And you open this map and you're like, oh my god, what is this? I want to check these towns, I want to check this volcano, I want to check this frozen land or this beach area. And it incentivizes you to do that because, like I said, it's not linear. Yes, it's a little bit linear in the case of Zelda, but it still has this, you have this desire for adventure when you see a map like that. And I think a map like this, obviously not this, because this is just like AI slob or whatever, but like an idea like that, it would be so fantastic in my opinion. Alright, so that's all I wanted to say. Basically, I really hope that Nexon considers to create content on top of Classic, because I think Classic is gonna be great. I believe like a lot of streamers are gonna play it, actually, that love the game. It's a classic game. It's a game that probably is gonna incentivize a lot of people to try it out, and if they do it right, I think it's gonna retain a lot of players, because if you go to Facebook, if you go to Instagram, you just find a bunch of comments of people classic, and obviously that is a meme, and why not? But I think like besides the meme, like outside of the meme, there is something there. There is an idea that can be very, very good and very great. And if they, in my opinion, if they implemented the World of Warcraft route, where they literally just release every single expansion or area like forever, they're gonna fail. But if they just release the classic and leave it there, no content, that's it, and just like events, is gonna fail too, I believe. But if they do it the old school RuneScape route, with releasing content on top with the flavor of it, I think it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna last. People are gonna love it. New people are gonna come in. Funny enough, I've never played RuneScape actually, but it's always like a great example of how classics like servers should be run and done. Like the polling system, it's just great. So hopefully Nexon tackles a couple of those things or considers those things. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.